up.
Turn it up, turn it up, turn it up, yeah. Turn it up, turn it up, turn it up.
Yeah, I pray I will. Till the good Lord calls me up, I'm just fine down here in Heaven'sville.
Feeling good in the final Behind the Blind here at Tornado Alley because we got them today. It was a good one.
It was good.
Man, I'm the only one excited about that. Thanks, Tetra. Yeah.
I'm too impatient.
Yeah.
That is no
you
lie.
were actually really patient today.
Yeah.
I was, you know what? I'm proud of you.
Yeah, I've come a long way this season.
And not only were you patient, you had your father, who was possibly the most impatient person I've ever met in my life in the blind. And even he was patient with today's hunt.
Yep. He sure was.
Except for the time when the speck flew over at about 60 yards and the crow flew out about 80 yards.
Yeah.
Just needed to squeeze that trigger one more time.
Exactly. Anyway, all right, so the final Behind the Blind pod here while we're at Tornado Alley, brought to you by Tetra Herring. Again, check them out at tetraherring.com. And thank you, Tetra Herring, for being so involved with Heartland Waterfowl and this original YouTube original series called Behind the Blind. Logan Burdett, Everett Adkins, Brandon Mendoza. I'm Ronnie Phillips, and I guess we'll start with today's hunt. You know, we looked at and discussed last time on the pod on whether we were going to hunt the water, we were going to hunt the field. At one point, we were going to hunt the water, and then I didn't even find out until we were recording this last night that we decided to hunt the field.
Right.
And it's
just not paying attention. It's okay.
I wasn't around. I was back here FaceTiming my daughter. Sorry.
Nope.
But hey,
Hair.
jeez, so original, Brandon. So original. Hey, but anyway, it was a good thing we hunted the field.
Yeah, them birds are bouncing a lot. I mean, we didn't shoot anything right off the bat.
No.
They went and sat in another spot of the field and just kind of bounced back and forth, looking at water, several ponds on this property, and just trickled in. And then we got some big wads, and it worked out great.
Yeah, it really did. What was your takeaway? Go ahead.
Great hunt. But I mean, I don't know.
That's a lot.
It was a weird hunt, right? Typically you don't struggle the first 2.5 hours to turn around and have a good hunt, right?
Mhm.
Usually if it's going to be a good one, you're going to know pretty quick right away. But we also knew that those birds for the last 2 or 3 days have been staying out in the field all day, bouncing around. And that's exactly what happened. I mean, we were just catching birds bouncing.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly didn't expect to finish it off with the littles.
No, you expect to do that right off the bat.
Yeah.
That was the best part. You know, there's so many birds in that area, and the littles were bouncing around from across the road to other different fields, you know, within quarter mile, half mile of us. And I honestly didn't feel like we were going to get a shot at them. I didn't think they were going to have anything to want to do with us. My hope was like, let's just get on the big ones that come from town. And we were able to do that. I mean, most of those that came from town, they did it. Mm-hmm. And then at the end, and by the time you listen or watch this, you go back, and if you haven't already seen it on the Heartland Waterfowl YouTube channel, you'll see it. I mean, there was that. I don't know how many birds were in there. How many would you guess?
A lot.
Like 75 maybe that were in that group.
On the lessers?
That finished, yeah.
I mean, there was way more than 75.
You think so?
Yeah, like 375.
I don't think there was that many. I don't think there was that many.
Yeah, there was way more than 75 birds in that.
Well, I just went back and looked at the clip, and it looked like
you didn't look very well.
Well, whatever was in the frame was not 375. I can assure you that.
The whole flock.
The whole flock.
Right. I'm talking about what actually finished, what gave us a shot.
You're being
too
real
many
technical.
details, Ronnie.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the grand scheme.
I'm talking about all the birds that were in the sky in the county at that particular time.
Oh, okay.
Right. Then that would be anyway.
What we're hunting tomorrow.
Yeah. So
not really.
There was a rain out of about 16 birds. It was absolutely incredible. And they came over, and I remember Brandon was like, what do you think, guys? Should we take them here? Because sometimes the lessers will screw you, right? And they'll give you that one marginal shot, and then if you don't take it, then you don't get a second shot. And then they flipped around and sat right in the pocket.
Yeah, they moneyed up. Perfect. Everybody was shooting good.
Yep, we risk it for the biscuit.
Yeah.
We did that time, yeah. And then at that point, we only needed, like another half dozen birds, I think, to fill our limit.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And then another large group of lessers came in, and most of us had already limited out. I think it was just Brad and Gus.
Yep.
And maybe Everett
I
that
need to
had a chance to shoot. And so half of the guys that were in the blind got to shoot at that. And so we knocked down a few more, but it was another very large group of lessers that finished again really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, the sunshine helped a ton. Made those decoys pop, especially
Get the frost off the ground.
Yep. And
Yeah.
we didn't have hardly any wind, so if you don't have the wind, you need the sunshine to make that work.
Yeah,
the only way that worked.
It was tough this morning. We had a lot of frost. I mean,
And no
even
wind at all.
Fully flocked decoys look terrible.
Mm-hmm.
With just a little bit of sun, and that burns off quick. And then really, once the frost got off the decoys, we had some birds start working.
Yep.
So.
Yep. And the big birds started coming out. Obviously, they came out later, and that's what helped us. You could tell those big birds wanted to be there versus the little geese first thing this morning. Obviously, we waited, 2 hours before we really did anything.
Right.
Yeah.
How about that 4-pack of specs?
I was just getting ready to say, we even had a bonus, group that came in as well.
Specs just don't do it like that. And they came in silent and finished right to the hole.
Right in front.
A couple trophies too.
Yeah.
It was nice.
So where are those? Are those going to go in the new lot? Or should I not say that?
It looks like you done messed up.
Shoot. Is that going to go into a special place, the two specs that you...
Yes, that is going to go into our new lodge.
Okay. All right. That's exciting news.
Yeah.
Was that really supposed to be...
No.
I really screwed that up?
There's a lot of people that know it. I just really hadn't told you.
Oh,
So,
okay.
no.
It's only going to be a new lodge if Everett actually works on it enough this spring to make it a lodge.
Yes.
I'll get around to it sometime.
Uh-huh.
That would require you to get up and start work before 10 a.m.
We've got until like Thanksgiving to get it done.
Negative.
Right. So we have one more hunt left, and because we've got it's on a Sunday, and we have the Super Bowl tomorrow. We're making this the last behind the blind before we leave. So make sure you check back tomorrow for how that hunt turns out. But Logan and Brad and Champ went out and scouted it, and it's loaded with 500 birds in there or something like that.
Many.
Well, he counted them. He looked at the aerial and counted them. Yeah.
There's that many.
Really? No way.
Why?
Okay. All right.
That's not a bad thing.
There's a good number of birds in a pond that we've hunted a lot in the past, and it sets up great for a south wind. It's supposed to be 9 in the morning. I'll count it to be about 2 or 3, and then about 10 a.m. it'll probably be 25. But it sets up perfect for a south wind. It's a pond we've hunted a bunch in the past. It's just old reliable.
Mm-hmm.
So it should be a good hunt. Last day of the season, can't go wrong.
Right.
It's something we've hunted a ton, and it'll be fun.
Yeah.
Typically it's a good spot. Typically it's a really good spot.
Yeah. And it's the last hunt of our, I kind of screwed that up. So it's not really the last hunt of season 10, but it's the last hunt of the fall winter season before we then go do the spring snows in Canada in May. So there's a really good opportunity that we could close the season on a really good note.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Great spot. I would assume those birds have been in there for a while. They rarely get touched. So, it should be a good way to
Be a little bit warmer in the morning, or at least at shooting time. I think I saw around 32 degrees.
Yeah, 30 degrees. So.
But we'll have the wind. It's supposed to be windy.
Yeah, I saw south about 9 to 10 miles per hour, I think.
Yeah, and typically there's some groups that like to come to that pond first thing in the morning, water to water. So I would assume they're not all on there.
Right.
I like it.
Yep.
Should be good. Well, since I let the cat out of the bag about the new lodge, what else is in the future with Tornado Alley?
We're adding some new things to this lodge, current one.
Okay.
New lodge, gonna have all the same amenities.
Okay.
Just a little bit bigger, more individual rooms, so it's not such an open bunk sleeping like our other current lodge. And just keep everything nice. It's not going to be the real lodgy style. It's kind of be set up like this, you know, more of the modern style, not so dark in the inside. We'll utilize it in the off season also for other things. So
It's going to feel more like a home than a lodge.
Right.
Yep.
So it'll be nice.
I'm excited to see it.
I am too. I'm excited to see it done.
What's your
He's already
Done.
You're the head guide and
It'll be done by Thanksgiving.
general
We're
contractor.
good. We're
He's
good.
general. That's for sure.
Very general.
Very general.
So on the day that we're recording this, which is February 11th, 2023, what availabilities do you have for I guess 2023-2024 season?
Most of December is spoken for. I think we got 5 days left in December that are available, and probably a couple weeks in January. It's filling up really fast.
Good.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. We got a lot of people calling, hey, when you opening the books are open, pretty much as soon as we start getting hunters in, because a lot of people just immediately rebook. So,
and if you are booked, then is there an opportunity to get on a waiting list?
We do have a waiting list.
Okay. How deep is that?
Right now, it's only about 10 people deep, but that second
10 groups?
10 groups deep.
Wow.
So we do have some people that want to come in that second split, and that's booked out for this year and next year, and most of that is returning clients. So it's literally going to be when somebody decides that they're done coming to hunt or want to try something different. Maybe they want to come for a late season goose hunt or something, but it's great. Great problem to have.
Do you need any guides?
No, I've got one that's kind of a pain already. Not mentioning any names.
No comment.
Andy's not here to defend himself.
Oh, man. That was rude. So you're all squared away.
Yep. So we're probably going to add one next year. I've got a prospect that I'm looking at. All of us are getting older. I mean, it is what it is. Kids, things get in the way. And the guys knowing that they don't want to take away from this or kind of stepping away and saying, hey, I need to do this with the kids or whatever, maybe not focus as much on this, which I totally understand. And they give me the heads up, and we're gonna move forward.
Do you get a lot of inquiries of people who are interested in guiding? I mean, would this be a platform to where you would say, hey, if you are a guide or you would like to, this might be an opportunity where they could reach out to you, and if it works out, or you can have
absolutely. I'd love people. I've got several people that have approached me, emailed, called, text, whatever, and wanting to do it. I mean,
what are you looking for in a guide?
Honestly, we got a lot of our clientele like to see guys a little bit older. I mean, not the younger people guiding, just because our group is kind of older, and they like to see that experience underneath their belt, because a lot of them have hunted a long time. So they want to know that they're getting somebody that has also had, some hours in the field.
Yep.
Instead of just a run and gun guy that, not that their tactics aren't good, but just,
right.
I guess maybe they can bond with somebody a little bit more closer to their age. So
for sure.
Older, maybe I definitely want some guide experience. Green is tough. We brought up a green guy, Shane. He was great. Worked out well for us. As busy as we are right now, it's tough to bring in a green guy. There's just a lot of moving parts to this whole thing. So it's just difficult. But middle age, 30s. I get the guy that I'm looking at is about middle 30s.
Okay.
Got some experience, able to call, good, able to work a dog. That's two main things, and have good personalities with people.
Sure. That's probably one of the biggest thing, really.
I mean,
with your clientele, right? Like, because every outfitter has a different clientele, and I don't know, maybe I probably shouldn't put words in your mouth, but from the outside perspective is that your clientele isn't necessarily the multimillionaire who flies here in his private jet, right? Like, these are the blue collar worker who's saving up their money because they want to go on that special trip to hunt with you every single year, right?
Yeah, exactly. And we got people from all different walks of life, and it's just, we just talked about this the other day, how much things have changed from when we started as clientele to where we are now. And we don't plan on changing anything. The new lodge, you're going to be hunting with your own group, lodging with your own group, have your own set of guides. We're still not going to mix people. I mean, we have people that ask us that all the time. Can you just throw me in with the group? It's not our thing. It's not our niche. So we're going to maintain those.
Bring a couple more guys with you if that's what you want to do.
Yeah. I mean, and we even have, father and two sons that want to come, and they can't find a fourth. They pay for the fourth just so they get the hunt.
Yeah.
It's totally up to them. Granted, I'd love them to have four, but sometimes it doesn't work.
Right.
So, but lodge will be a little bit bigger. It'll handle bigger groups, but we still like the 8-ish as a max.
Like 4 to 8, right?
Yeah. So
it's good size.
You get 8, 9 people out there. It's plus 2 guides. you're hiding a lot of people.
Yeah.
And, and we only got X amount of birds. So shoot really well or you're what we call SOL.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, is what it is.
Don't leave them on the table.
Yeah. Don't leave them on the table. Yeah.
So outside of Tornado Alley, you also have Gravel City Outfitters.
Yes, sir. Yep. We run, used to do some turkey hunting, but now it's primarily archery deer hunts only. So we'll start as soon as the season opens up, and we will shut down right about Thanksgiving is when we get rolling into the waterfowl. So we're not going to take away from this by no means. So,
And that's bow hunting only.
archery only. Yep.
Right. And do you have any dates available for that?
We do. We do have several dates available. So you can hit us up, shoot me a call or text.
What units are you?
Unit 14.
Unit 14 only.
Unit 14 only.
There you go.
Yep.
So if you want to put in for the draw, Unit 14 with Gravel City Outfitters, also Tornado Alley.
Yep.
Basically, the Gravel City is the deer hunting side, Tornado Alley is the waterfowl side. So
And if you get on the website for either one of them, we're linked on both of them, so you can check out both pages.
Good. And I'm trying to remember
Oh,
in
here-
Kansas, is it like
It's coming. It's coming.
what I was getting ready to say was that
trying to remember where I shot.
no,
Where did I
no,
shoot
I'm
that?
trying to remember when
sat in that
Kansas.
tree for 14 hours. It was really
Jeez.
cold, and finally.
Okay,
the deer
fine. If
came
you guys
through the
really want to
feeder.
talk about it, so do you guys have big deer? Like, what's the
Oh,
biggest
here
deer
we
that's ever
go.
been taken here with Gravel City Outfitters?
We had a deer, some guy named Ronnie shot one that was 180 incher.
Mm,
Yeah, it's a good little buck.
yeah, good little buck. Right.
I would cut those off and use them as rattling.
The funniest story about it all is when we got to the field and Everett stepped on your bow.
Oh, I know.
I forgot about that.
There was a whole lot of things that went wrong
Lead guide.
leading up to that.
Lead guide.
Yes.
Stepping on people's
Yes.
bows.
I do have to tell
I
one
had
quick
nothing to do with guide.
whatever,
There was no
whatever.
guide at that point in time.
So what have you changed since now and then?
Not much.
You were putting in the groundwork, though, to kiss his tail so that he would consider you as a guide option.
No.
Yeah, because that's why you were down here. You were down here doing preseason work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
But
why would you be
not-
doing preseason work if you weren't working for him?
That would have been the first year then. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Would've
say I'm wrong.
But-
You were right, Ronnie.
But I'm not a deer guide.
No, you should have had no business being around me and there that morning. That was
For a lot of different
that was right. So the story, actually, what I was getting ready to ask was when you need to put in for a Kansas tag. I don't know what that was the original question here. So I want to get to that eventually. But when we had it worked out that I was going to come down here and hunt with Gravel City Outfitters to fill my Kansas tag, Everett had told me that he was going to be in town, and then you guys were, after you doing some work, you were going to be up north at a certain restaurant and having dinner all together and maybe having some drinks. And then Everett was going to be coming down and hanging out with me the night before my morning hunt. And the time goes on and on and on. I'm texting. I was like, hey, man, what's going on? What time do you think you're going to be coming in? He ignores me.
him.
He totally
No.
Oh, you totally ghosted me.
There's no reception out there
Oh,
where we were
jeez.
at. No. Okay, you'll find out tonight. There's no reception there. Okay.
Anyway, so I literally was staying here and got worried because it turned out to be like 1 o'clock in the morning. And he said, hey, man, I'm going to come down there and we're going to hang out. We'll have a couple cocktails
Well,
before
I
you
was
go out in the
staying
morning.
here too.
And 1 o'clock in the morning, I'm thinking he gets on that windy road or something. Maybe he had too much to drink and got into an accident. And I was legitimately scared and couldn't fall asleep. And then he finally reached out to me and was like, man, I'm sorry. I didn't have service. And so I didn't get much sleep that night. Then he decides that he's going to get up and roll with me the next morning. We get to the location. I'm getting all of my stuff out, and it's going to be an all-day sit. And I set my bow on the ground, and as I'm like, okay, I think I got my backpack and everything ready to go. And he goes to like give me a bro hug, like good luck. And he literally steps on the cam of my bow. And I'm like, no. And I'm like thinking to myself,
There was
Paid
never
for this,
any
huh?
pressure put on that. It's not like, I mean, I felt it under my foot.
you say
and
that
lifted
like
it.
you say that like you weigh 120 pounds. I mean, look
I'm
at you.
No
I'm saying
pressure
it-
put on your bow whatsoever.
It's not like I just like stomped on it and walked right through it.
I know,
felt
but you
it
can
under my
imagine
foot.
how scared
Yes,
I was,
know.
right?
I
like
know.
this is my one shot,
Yes,
first cold front of
100%.
the year. I've paid for this hunt, and
Yes, 100%.
Maybe
now you've got no chance to shoot it and
Right.
make sure that you're dialed
Maybe
in.
he was the one that actually sighted it in for you.
maybe that is possible.
I
don't know.
fixed it for you.
Anyway, it turned out to be an all-day hunt. It was great. So if somebody was interested in coming to Kansas to shoot because they are, I mean, obviously when you go out scouting for waterfowl around here, we see deer. They are everywhere. There is a ton of deer, and it's the land of giants. Do you know? Because I honestly don't remember off the top of my head when somebody would have to put in
April 1st.
April 1st. That's the deadline, or that's when it opens?
When it opens up.
Okay.
I believe it shuts down April 26th.
Okay. So jump on that.
About a month.
And how many availabilities do you have for that?
We got about 10.
Wow.
We
Okay.
don't run a lot of hunters. We're not one to put a lot of pressure on the properties. Keep the quality deer, low pressure.
Mm-hmm.
But how many do you have putting in?
Typically about 15.
Right. So you've got about 15 guys that are looking to put in right now. So what it boils down to is the draw. It's getting harder and harder to draw in Kansas.
Yeah.
It's
about a 50% draw now. So if you put in, you don't get drawn, you'll get a preference point. So more than likely the next year you'll get drawn. So it's about an every other year thing. A lot of people have been applying for out-of-state tags since COVID hit, and the quotas haven't changed. So Kansas is just rolling with it. And it just makes it a little difficult on leases and everything to know how many hunters you're truly going to have in until.
And you had 5 hunters in last year, and all 4 of them tagged out, right? I think you said last night.
We had one that didn't tag out. Yep.
Right. So go check them out at gravelcityoutfitters.com. There is, again, massive big bucks around here, and I was fortunate enough to get the biggest one they've ever had.
Anyways, what about that waterfowl?
Just a deer hunter.
You know what?
Just trying to help you promote your business, bud.
Tomorrow, baby.
Yeah, tomorrow's going to be good. I'm looking forward to it. Close out the season on a high note. I don't know. I'm trying to think if there's anything else we're missing.
So what's new for Heartland Waterfowl next year?
Yeah.
Logan, that's a good question for Logan.
We're going to start deer hunting. Our first hunt's at Gravel City Outfitters.
Yeah. Probably need to put the guy who shot the biggest deer ever.
We're after this double drop tine buck that I saw a picture of.
Oh, he's actually got 2 double drop tines.
Yeah.
You have 2 double drop
Yes,
tine bucks.
not on the same property.
Ooh, okay.
But one of them was on the property where I got the 180.
Man. Okay. Well,
And they are big.
maybe you can come step on my bow next year.
It is the land of giants for sure. So if you are interested in that, come check that out. But that's going to do it. I think we can wrap this thing up. It was a great year and awesome always to finish out with Tornado Alley. We really appreciate you guys, to be fortunate enough to not only come out here once, but then to come back and do it twice and finish out the Canada the goose season in Kansas with you guys. You guys got tons of birds, even though this year is not typical for most years.
Exactly.
It's still been great, and really appreciate you and Everett. God, that was painful to say. Sean, of course, Sean works his ass off too. Every time we're out here, and he's a brother, and we love hunting with him as well. So, and then of course, thanks for letting us bring Gus and from TriStar in, and all of our other friends. So it's been great.
I enjoyed it. I appreciate you guys. Y'all
Cool.
like family.
Yep, absolutely. Let's finish it on a good note.
Yep.
Let's do it again next year.
Yeah. Same time, same date.
Right before Christmas, the last week of February.
We talked about this, remember? I need to see the schedule.
Oh, geez. All right. So for Logan Burdett, Everett Atkins, Brandon Mendoza, I'm Ronnie Phillips. Thank you, Tetra Hearing, for sponsoring Behind the Blind. We'll see you in Canada.
Just find out here in heaven.
Let's pack this.